Hey everybody, this is Burke, and I saw this really interesting article this week about how the TSA paid almost $50,000 for an app that is very simple. It's a green arrow that the TSA agent holds and they tap it, and as somebody walks up, the arrow either points left or it points right, and you go in the direction of the arrow. And $47,000, kind of crazy. And this developer rebuilt it in 10 minutes, but just for Android. I thought, can we build this thing cross-platform for iOS and Android in 10 minutes with NativeScript? Let's find out. Here we go. I'm going to roll completely from scratch here. So just TNS create, we'll just call this thing TSA arrow. I don't even know what else to call it. It's that simple. Do one thing and do it well, right? And then let's do, for this bad boy, let me close out some of these other tabs here. I do not need these. Let's do, let's change into that directory. And then let's just do TNS platform add iOS. And then we will do TNS platform add Android. Super duper. And after this Android platform is added to the project, I'm going to open this bad boy in Visual Studio Code. Here we go. All right, Visual Studio Code. Let's crank up the font size on this thing. I'm going to go into the main page and let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this thing that we get, the template out of the box. I'm going to have a loaded function. Just call it loaded. What? That's not right. Loaded. There we go. And then I'm going to use a grid layout to make sure that everything appears right dead center in the middle of the screen. And by everything, I mean just a green arrow. So there we go. Columns take up the whole screen. Rows, one of them takes up the whole screen. One cell takes up the whole screen. But this works. And I don't have a lot of time. It's how I know how to do it off the top of my head. So let's do a label here for the arrow. I'm going to give it an ID of arrow. I'm going to give it a class of FA is fine. And then the text, I don't really know what that's going to be yet because I need to find out. We're going to use a font icon for this arrow instead of an image because we can. So let's install Font Awesome, npm install Font Awesome. And then over here, we will, in our app directory, create a new folder called Fonts. There's a whole video on this on how to use Font Awesome in NativeScript if you want more explanation about what I'm actually doing here. I'm going to grab the necessary files here and copy them into my fonts folder. So there's the OTF file is for Android and the TTF file is for iOS. And then let's just go and specify the font family. So let's get rid of all this, close the sidebar. I think we said FA, yeah. And then just font family is Font Awesome. Or Font Awesome Web Font is the other way that font might be named. Okay. Let's do something here. I want to take this grid layout and I want it horizontal align center. I want a vertical align center and I want a text align center. And I'm just going to center align the whole shebang. And then this arrow, I want a font size of like, I don't know, 300. Let's make the color like a nasty greenish. Nasty, just that the plain green is nasty enough. There we go. Can't miss it. Okay, so with that, let's check out how this looks on iOS. TNS Live Sync iOS. And then while we're doing that, I'm going to go back over to Visual Studio Code here. And let's go ahead and jump into, let's go to this main page here. Let's get rid of all of this because we're not going to need this. We have a loaded event. We have a function. I don't want to name, but I do want params. I have args coming in here. What I want to do is just get a reference to that arrow, which I called arrow. So args.object is the page, and then arrow, which I haven't defined yet, is going to be page.getViewById arrow. Probably remember that. And so then let's go up and say var arrow, which is stored up there. And now I can reference this arrow in this other function that I'm going to create. Now, I'm going to come back over here to my, and I know that I'm moving very quickly here, trying to get this done in under 10 minutes. I'm going to come up here to this page, and I also want to add a tap event here so that no matter where I tap, I'm going to call it randomized. No matter where I tap on this page, this tap will be recognized. Even if I tap on the arrow, the tap is still recognized because this is a native app. It handles touches really, really well. So let's add this randomized function here. So I didn't mean to do that. I wanted to go here. So we'll just do exports randomize equals function And now's a good time to check on our app. I forgot that I booted that up. All right, so we're here, but I don't have anything there yet. That's right, I added Font Awesome, but I forgot to, so if I add in, I need to add in, let's go to Font Awesome, the website. Here we go. Go to icons, and let's just search for arrow. Got a lot of arrows. That one looks a little short, and it doesn't matter, we just need one. Let's just do this one. This will be fun. We'll copy this out of here, and let's do the escape sequence for Unicode. And I think that's it. I think we're good to go. Let me go ahead and start the live sync here on iOS. It should come up here momentarily, and we should have a nice green arrow in the center of the screen. Oh, and we do. Sweet. All right, so now all we need to do is add our tap action. Let's go back to the main page here. This is a randomized. This is what's going to be called when we tap anywhere on the screen. Now, what we want to do is rotate this arrow. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use the math.random function. If I call random, this will return me a random number between 0 and 1. And then I'm just going to say if that number is less than 0.5, which is the halfway point, then rotate it 0 degrees. Otherwise, rotate it 180 degrees. So I'm using this one line to determine the rotation of the arrow. And then I'll just tell the arrow to animate. All NativeScript views, and arrow is a view even though it's a label, have an animate function. And I can say, I want you to rotate this thing, rotation. And I want it to happen pretty much immediately, so just a duration of 1, super duper fast. All right, let's bring it back up here. And now we should actually have a functioning app. That should be all we have to do. So if I click on this thing, this arrow should, and it does. I'm clicking a lot, and sometimes it changes and sometimes it doesn't because it's random, exactly what we wanted. One of the problems though is that you can't tell when you're touching the screen. So let's add in a little bit of extra functionality for the $50,000 that the TSA is paying us here. What I want to do here is I want to say at the same time that I animate the rotation, I'm just going to start another animation where I animate the thing's opacity to 1 and set the duration of that to, like, I don't know, 400 milliseconds. When that animation ends, what I want to do is I want the arrow to just sit there for a minute. So I'm going to use a timeout for that. We'll say like 1 second, right? The arrow's just going to sit there long enough for somebody to look up and see it. And then inside of that, when that timeout is done, I'm going to animate the arrow right back out again, giving it an opacity of 0, and we're going to do that outward transition a little bit faster because, you know, we got a lot of people in this line. We got to move through them. Okay, and then what we want to do is we also want to set the initial opacity of the arrow to 0. So we'll say opacity is 0. There we go. And I'm getting tired of just restarting this app over and over again. So let's just turn on the watch. And let's see what we get here. All right, so click, arrow fades in, and it fades out. Nice. You can see though that it kind of like bounces around because if I tap while the thing is in the process of animating, it just stops the animation. I don't know if the TSA wants that or not, but I can give them a better experience, I think. I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna throw that in because I'm a nice guy. I wanna up the amount of animation there. So let's just use a very simple flag-based debounce here. We'll say if this thing is not animating, right? Then we can put all this mess inside it here. Let's see, all this mess. I'm not terribly happy with Visual Studio's ability to handle preserved tabs for me. Personal problem, I know. All right, so if it's not animating, then we want to say that it is animating. Animating is equal to true. And then what we want to do is when this thing is completely done animating here, this last animate, so when this thing ends, we're going to call another function, and we're just going to set animating to false. Turn it right back off again. All right, let's go back over to our app, and now we should have a debounce function. So when we click, yeah, see the arrow only, it doesn't recognize my animations until the animation is complete, which is probably what we want. So we totally built the app. Now all we have to do is run it on Android. So that should be theoretically as simple as saying TNS live sync Android, because I've got Genymotion running already. And here we go. Let's see if we can deploy our application to Android. Yeah, this first Android build takes a couple of seconds here. I noticed in the guy's video it wasn't a whole lot faster for him. Normally I would cut this out of the video for you, but in the interest of full transparency, we're going to go through a whole Android build. All the subsequent builds are a whole lot faster. All right, it's built and it's deployed, and here's the app. And oh no, wait. Well, that was weird. There we go. Now it's in the middle. So here we go. For your $50,000, for your $47,000 TSA, we've given you an app that works on both iOS and Android, doubling your possibilities. I hope you enjoyed that. I'll put all this code in GitHub if you want to see for yourself the ridiculousness of... oh, and I just realized this emulator is a bit too large for my screen here. Let's try that again. There we go. I bet you can see that now. It's a lot better. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye.